So we continue now with the fourth chapter, so the legal framework.
Niisiis 4. osa juurde seadusandlus.
And if we talk about black seed, we have to look at the seed marketing directives.
Kui me räägime mustast seemnest, vaatame seemnekaubanduse direktiive.
Because, say, black seed, so the marketing of uncertified seed is simply not allowed. It's a clear infringement.
Niisiis, vastavalt seadusandlusele musta seemne, sertifitseerimata seemne kaubastamine ei üldse lubatud, see on rikkumine.
And here you have the whole set of, seed marketing directives for the agricultural and vegetable crops.
Ja siin on terve hulk nüüd arve ja andmeid erinevate kultuuride kohta.
It's quite old legislation. Say the cereals and forage and grass go back to the 60s.
Siis teravilja ja söödakultuuride kohta läheb see juba 60. aastatesse tagasi.
So that was also the reason why the Commission tried to have a new seed legislation in the European Union.
Siin on nüüd näidatud põhjus, miks taheti üle minna täiesti uuele seadusandlusele Euroopa Liidus.
So we started to work on the PRM proposal, as it is called.
Tahtsime oma siis seda ettepanekut. We'll break down this PRM.
The plant reproductive material.
Jah, niisiis see paljundusmaterjali seaduse.
So that was we started that discussion in 2008, so that's 7 years ago.
Ja see algas siis 7 aastat tagasi.
And last year it was voted down, the proposal by the European Parliament.
Europarlament hääletas selle ettepaneku maha eelmisel aastal.
And there was a lot of lobbying of NGOs in relation to the seed legislation.
Ja lobitööd on hästi palju tehtud selle ettepaneku taastamiseks.
And the result of that lobbying is that the Commission suffered its greatest defeat politically in Parliament.
Ja komisjon siis nägi kõige suuremat kaotust üldse parlamendis selle ettepaneku osas.
So at the one hand, those NGOs they succeeded in getting the proposal from the table.
Ühes osas siis need valitsusvälised organisatsioonid saavutasid võidu, et nad tõid selle teema üldse lauale.
But now they realized that a lot of things which were good in the proposal, they are also from the table.
Aga samas on leitud, et ka paljud head asjad on läinud kadunud nüüdseks.
So in fact they have shot themselves in the feet. I don't know if you have a word for that in Estonian.
Et tegu on niisuguse ütlusega, võib öelda selle kohta, et tulistasid endale ise jalga.
And what we see now, we see a lot of things from the PRM proposal coming back in the draft legislation on organic production.
Ja see seostub paljuski ka selle orgaanilise tootmisega.
So here you see the date. So the PRM was rejected and withdrawn by the Commission last year.
Eelmisel aastal siis võeti maha ettepanek selle paljundusmaterjali.
And what we are doing now, instead of a complete overhaul of the legislation,
praegu tegeleme selle seadusandluse täieliku ümber tegemise parandamisega.
We look at targeted improvement of individual seed marketing directives.
Ja vaatame rohkem individuaalsest vaatepunktidest.
That has to do with equivalence of seeds produced outside the EU.
Ja et oleks võrdne seemnega, mis on tulnud väljaspoolt Euroopa Liitu.
And also possible shortcomings like a unique serial number on the seed label.
Ja siis tegeleme ka võimalike puudustega, nagu see unikaalne seeria number siis.
And that could be very important in fighting black market.
Mis on väga oluline just võitluses musta turuga.
Here you see the different players which have an important say in the seed legislation.
Need seemne tootmisega seadusandlusega, need isikud on siis olulised.
It's in the first instance is Commissioner Andriukaitis from DG Sante.
Vitenis Andriukaitis, kes on siis toidu ja siis
Yeah, I don't think you can translate that. It's just DG Sante, so that's it. I think that's.
Siis paremate seaduste, parema regulatsiooni poolt Frans Timmermans ja loomulikult president ise.
Yeah, so in addition to Mr. Andriukaitis, you have also Mr. Frans Timmermans, Dutch, in charge of better regulation, who also needs to give the green light on possible changes in the seed legislation.
Ja hollandlane Timmermans on siis selle poolt, et anda rohelist tuld just nimelt uuendustele seadusandluses.
And in the end, Juncker himself has to give the green light.
Ja samuti Juncker ise.
So to change the EU seed legislation is quite complicated at the moment.
Nagu te näete, ei ole see see seadusandluse muudatused sugugi lihtsad.
Yeah, some words on the organic farming proposal, because that has a link to the seed legislation.
Enne mainitud siis orgaaniline põllundus või mahepõllundus siis, kuivõrd sellel on ka otsene seos seemnekaubandusega.
And I've understood that in Estonia, organic production is quite important, 17%. That is more than the EU average.
Ja nagu ma aru saan, Eestile on see eriti oluline, 17% kogu tootmisest, mis on Euroopa Liidu keskmisest kõrge.
What you see here on the screen is the so-called compromise amendment.
Siin näete seda nii-öelda kompromissettepanekut.
So in total on the draft legislation there were 1,000 amendments proposed.
Ja need parandused muidugi on ääretult palju.
And this is one of, say, the compromise amendments proposed by Mr. Häusling, who is the rapporteur on organic production.
See on nüüd üks nendest kompromissettepanekutest, mille tegi siis üks raportööridest.
And I will just read it out. So it involves a holistic approach that respects natural crossing barriers and is based on fertile plants that can establish a viable relationship with the living soil. It's not needed to don't translate.
Ma ütlen seda lühidalt, et tegu on selline holistilise lähenemisega, mis austab loomulikku piiriületust ja siis loob toimiva suhte viljaka taime suhte elava mullaga.
So that means that with that definition of organic breeding, you can interpret that in a way that hybrids would not be allowed for organic production.
Nii et seda annab tõlgendada selliselt, et hübriide ei saa mahetootmises kasutada.
You know the situation, and that would mean that for certain crops there simply will not be seed available for organic production.
Nii et siis seemnete olulisus jälle mahetootmises.
So in our lobby to the European Parliament we try to inform them what the consequence would be if they would accept these kind of proposals.
Nii et siin lobitöös siin tulevad välja igasugused probleemid, mis hakkab siis ootama, kui järgida selliseid põhimõtteid.
And we've discussed it yesterday in the ministry here in Tallinn. So it's important that indeed also the member states they take a position on these issues.
Ja eile siis ministeeriumis arutasime, et on oluline oleks, et siis ka liikmesriigid nendes küsimustes oma arvamusi esitaksid.
This is another compromise amendment, and that has to do with the famous concept of heterogeneous materials, so population varieties.
See on nüüd siis järgmine kompromissettepanek see heterogeense materjali osas.
That is coming from the PRM proposal, heterogeneous material. That concept is coming from the proposal on PRM.
See on siis ettepanek, mis on siis selle paljundusmaterjaliga seotud.
And okay, you could understand that for the organic sector you need a bit less stable varieties. I could understand that.
Loomulikult on siis mahetootmiseks vaja natukene vähem stabiilseid
But
sorte.
in the current wording, they exclude they exempt heterogeneous material from all the provisions in the seed marketing directives.
Nii et praeguse seisuga nad võtavad kõik ära need sellise materjali siis mahepõllundusest.
That means no DOS, no VCU, no certification.
Et ei mingit sertifitseerimist.
VCU, no yield requirements.
Jah, ei registreerimisega majanduskatseks.
Registration requirements, yeah, indeed. Yeah. And of course, if you don't have any registration requirements or no certification, you don't have traceability. So how can you trace then products in the market?
Ja otse loomulikult siis kaob ära igasugune võimalus järgida seal sorti.
Another important compromise amendment is the obligation to produce basic seed also organically.
Jälle kompromissettepanek, nüüd on siis see algseemne, orgaanilise algseemnest ja siis tehnoloogiate piirangutest.
You know that organic certified seed is expensive. It's more difficult to grow. Yields are very often lower, so it's more expensive.
Kõik teavad seda, et mahetoodangut on kallim kasvatada.
And if you would also be required to produce the basic seed organically, it would be even more expensive.
Ja kui te peaksite algseemet kasvatama, siis oleks veelgi kallim.
And as a consequence, for certain crops, there will not be any seed available.
Ja tulemusena siis teatud kultuuride jaoks ei oleks mitte mingit seemet enam olemas.
And of course, there will be then more pressure on derogations.
Ja surve oleks igasuguste rikkumiste jaoks oleks täiesti olemas.
Yes, so I've mentioned the link between the organic proposal and the seed law.
Siin ma olen nendest seostest rääkinud, seemne igasugustest seadustega.
Members of Parliament have supported the position of the rapporteur and they have agreed with those compromise amendments.
Nõukogu siis on nagu nõustunud nende ettepanekute, kompromissettepanekutega.
And what we could see as a possible side effect of this whole discussion.
Ja kogu selle diskussiooni nii-öelda kõrvaltoime või kõrvalefekt on olnud see, et
that there is quite some pressure on the Commission to come up with a new EU legislation, seed legislation.
Et uue selle seemnekasvatusse seadusandluse surve selle jaoks on täiesti olemas.
And that will not be very positive for the conventional seed sector.
Ja see on siis ka lobitöö tulemusel, mitte see tavasektorist tulenevad ettepanekud.
This is what we do. We try to form alliances with the farmers. Copa Cogeca, the Brussels-based umbrella organization of farmers.
Et siin on nüüd näide sellest koostöökatsetest, omavahelistest seostest. Et siin on nüüd toodud Euroopa Seemneliidu logo ja siis põllumajanduskooperatiivide katusorganisatsioon.
And together we are working towards the members of Parliament, but also the Commission and the permanent representations of the different member states in Brussels.
Nii et koostööd teevad siis ühelt poolt siis need parlamendisaadikud, samuti siis komisjoni liikmed ja esindajad, liikmesriikide muud esindajad.
In this whole process, we've provided different position papers and we do that also together with the Estonian Seed Association.
ja kokkuvõttes võib öelda, et ka Eesti Seemneliit on kaasatud.
That was the first part of chapter 4, so that was in relation to the seed marketing directive, so black market, fighting black market. I stop here for a moment. Any questions
Teeme väikese
on that?
pausi ja
Because then, if not, I move over
kui küsimus ei ole, läheme
to farm safe seed and say the legislation
siis
behind farm safe
selle
seed.
oma toodetud seemne probleemistiku juurde.
We always have time for questions later on.
Alati on küsimuste jaoks aega hiljem ka.
So on plant breeders' rights, we have the UPOV Convention, UPOV 91.
Kasvatajate jaoks on oluline see UPOV-i 91. aasta tulemused.
We have the EU legislation on the basic regulation on plant variety protection.
Siis sordikaitseseadus Euroopa Liidu seadusandlusest.
And you have the different national plant breeders' rights laws.
Ja igal liikmelisriigil on siis ka oma seadusandlus.
The argumentation at that time, and now we go back 25 years ago,
see õigustus siis 25 aastat tagasi. Nii oli see, et
so the justification to have the agricultural exemption in the basic regulation was to safeguard agricultural production.
See õigustus igasugusteks eranditeks oli nimelt kaitsta siis põllumajandustoodangut.
You can wonder, of course, nowadays if that's still relevant.
Ja nüüd tekib küsimus, kas see tänapäeval on veel üldse kehtiv või kas selline asi pädeb üldse?
But these were the cornerstones that in relation to farm safe seed, both the interest of the breeder and the farmer should be safeguarded.
Aga põhimõte oli see, et tuleb nii aretaja kui taluniku õigusi kaitsta.
And in that respect, farmers have an obligation to provide information on the use of farm safe seed and also to pay how it's called an equitable remuneration.
Selle nii-öelda nende nurgakivide hulka kuulus ka siis kasvatajate, talunike kohustus anda edasi informatsiooni ja maksta siis ka mõistlikku tasu saadud seemne eest.
We have had a discussion 7 years ago with the farmers.
Need on nüüd tulemused siis nendest diskussioonidest, mida peeti kuskil 5-7 aastat tagasi talunikega.
And these were the conclusions. So in fact that the legislator had to restore the balance because the balance was lost.
Et on seadusandja asi taastada tasakaal, sest tasakaal hakkas kaduma.
We agreed that there was an obligation for providing information on the use of farm safe seed.
Loomulikult oluliseks peeti ka kohustust anda informatsiooni selle seemne kohta.
And I think from the last 3 bullets, this one is an important one, the information to farmers on free varieties.
Samuti nüüd nii-öelda vabade sortide kohta informatsioon.
Because we know certain farmers are quite dogmatic, they don't want to pay royalties. Okay.
Sest on ju olemas sellised kasvatajad, nagu me kõik teame, kes mingisugust autoritasusid ei tunnista ja ei maksa neid ka.
But as breeders we can say, okay, if you don't want to pay royalties, you should use a variety, an older variety, which is not protected by plant breeders' rights.
Et no okei, et siis see aretajatel on selline põhimõte, et kui ei taha maksta, et siis kasutad neid vabasid või tasuta sorte, mis enam ei käi selle seaduse alla.
And there are plenty of varieties out there which are not protected by plant breeders' rights.
Aga mis on siiski kaitstud sordid.
But if they want to make use of new genetics,
aga kui nad tahavad saada tulu nendest sest nii-öelda geneetikast, mis me varem räägime, seda tulu, et siis kasutavad neid uusi.
This is a timeline on the revision process. So also, well, the Commission started to have a look at the revision of the basic regulation.
See on nüüd siis see ajajoon. Et et mismoodi on toimunud siis see tegevus alates 2009. aastast, 2009.
Started in 2009, 6 years ago, and stopped more or less in 2012, so 3 years ago.
Ja lõpp saabus siis 2012. aastal.
Some words on the definition of small farmer.
Kes see väiketootja siis üldse on?
So the definition on European level is for cereals 92 tons and for potatoes 185.
Nii et teravilja on siis 92 tonni ja kartulite osas 185 tonni.
And when you look to, say, most of the countries, the 92 tons is translated in an area of 20 hectares.
Nii et enamuses riikides, siis see tõlgitakse 20 hektari peale kasvupind.
So here you see the statistics on, say, in relation to the farm size in Europe.
Statistika nüüd siis selle oma toodetud seemne kohta.
We have something like 12 million farmers in European Union.
Et Euroopa Liidus siis.
And 1.5 million farm an area larger than 20 hectares.
Esimene tulp näitab siis talu suurust, siis teine tulp talunike arvu.
So that is 12.5% of the farms, but they farm close to 80% of the total area.
Siis eelviimane pinda ja siis viimane selle pinna protsenti, see osakaalu siis.
So that means that close to 90% of the farmers are exempted from royalty payment.
Nii et suur osa on siis nagu vabastatud sellest autoritasude maksmisest.
Here I have taken some of the countries, including Estonia.
Siin on toodud näiteks nüüd mõned riigid, kaasa arvatud Eesti.
Poland is always very interesting. What is it?
Poola on alati huvitav.
2.4 million farmers.
Ja 2,3.
And of that 2.4 million, 1.6 million farm less than 5 hectares.
Ja kui vaatate, kui suur arv on neid talupidajaid ja missugune osakaal on nendel, kelle see pind on üldse 5 hektarit või midagi sellist.
But here Estonia is a relatively good place with a relatively high number of, say, larger farmers.
Eestis on nende suurtootjate osakaal on suhteliselt suurem jälle.
Yeah, now, that is, I change now to the 5th chapter, Certified Seeds, Farm Safe Seeds and Black Market. Any questions on plant breeders' rights, on the farm safe seed legal background?
Kas on küsimusi siis selle oma toodetud seemne kohta?
Then we continue.
Lähme edasi.
This is the preliminary result of a survey we did this year.
See on nüüd käesoleval aastal tehtud ülevaade.
So before I show you the results, I show you say more or less the coverage of our survey.
See on nüüd meie selle ülevaate kokkuvõte.
Of course, Koseral, these are the areas of production of Koseral 2015 covering 28 member states.
Siin on hõlmatud 28 liikmesriiki.
And we did a survey to our membership, and that includes information from 13 countries, 13.
Ja kolmandas siin on 13 riigist saadud tulemused.
But just to show you the representation of our data, so this is information from 28 countries, 13 countries, and here you have the percentage, the coverage.
Ja see on see ülevaatlikkuse määr nüüd, et kui palju siis see protsent.
We have 46 million hectares of Koseral, 36.9 of ESA, and that covers more or less 80%, so that means our data are quite representative.
Et tundub, et meie andmed on küllaltki esinduslikud.
Here you see Again, preliminary results, they still have to be validated.
Need tulemused tuleb siiski veel valideerida nii-öelda, need on esmased andmed praegu.
I start with the last column, so that's the percentage farm safe seed as collected in 2005.
Alustame viimasest tulbast, see on nüüd see otsseeme, mis on kogutud 2005. aastal.
So in total at that time 52% was farm saved.
Tollal oli 52% oligi, kõik oli oma toodetud seeme.
And that means 48% is certified seed.
Ja 48% oli siis sertifitseeritud seemne osakaal.
In 2005 we didn't differentiate between black market and farm safe seed, so that's what we did now.
Et meil ei olnud siis nii palju andmeid selle musta seemne kohta.
In this column you see the total for 2015.
Järgmine tulp tagantpoolt on siis käesoleva aasta andmed.
So you see we are at the same 52%. So apparently in the past 10 years there's not much change there.
Nagu näete, ei ole viimase 10 aasta jooksul suurt muutust toimunud, endiselt 52%.
If you look to the different crops, apparently there's a small increase in wheat.
Kui me vaatame erinevaid kultuure, siis nisu osas on muutus siiski toimunud.
A significant increase in farm safe seed of durum wheat.
Durum nisu.
Triticum durum. That you don't have that here. That's for pasta.
Ja, kõva nisu. Durum, kõva nisu.
Oh, you have it. Okay, very good. And that, of course, that is logic because in the past there was a subsidy on a quality subsidy, and that was linked to certified seed. That is taken away, so that's why you see now more farm safe seed.
Et sealt on subsiidiumid ära võetud, nii et selles osas on siis see oma toodetud seemne osakaal suurenenud.
You see a decrease in farm safe seed in rye.
Rukki osas näeme otsseemne osakaalu.
And that very well could be with the development of more hybrids in rye.
Rukkil on rohkem hübriide.
The other crops, not much difference.
Muudel kultuuridel väga suuri muudatusi ei ole.
I will not say much about, say, barley. The differentiation between winter barley and spring barley is quite evident here in Estonia, but not in the Mediterranean area in Spain and Italy.
Et siin Eestis on need suvi ja tali, odra, need numbrid on väga erinevad, mitte aga suurtes maades nagu näiteks Hispaania.
But perhaps on these two columns, so the differentiation between farm safe seed and black seed.
Nüüd järgmised tulbad, mis on siis otsseeme ja siis mustseeme.
So you still see that 15% of the market is black seed, and that is quite a lot, I must say.
Ja nagu näeme, on 15% turul on ikka endiselt on mustseeme, mis on küllalt palju.
So we will use this data towards the different authorities because I think this is public law. So the authorities should act on it.
Et sellega peavad asjaomased institutsioonid muidugi tegelema, sest see on seaduse rikkumine.
You can see the difference between say the two columns for the other crops by yourself later on. Et te
saate nüüd vaadata erinevate kultuuride osas, missugune see mustaseemne osakaal on.
That finishes the 5th chapter. Any questions on this one?
See lõpetas nüüd 5. punkti. Küsimused?
Okay, just a quick question about how do you collect this data? Is it the whole amount of certified seed that is sold and how much coverage you can show?
The information comes from our members, the association members, so including the Estonian Seed Association. Of course, in the 13 countries where we have the data, most of these countries we have royalty collection systems on farm safe seed. So we know what we collect on farm safe seed. We know more or less the area of production. We know what's produced on certified seed. So The rest is still either farm safe seed, which is not declared, or black seed. So I think we are quite, our data is quite precise.
Nii küsimus oli lihtsalt selle kohta, et kuidas need andmed tulevad. Ja vastus oli selline, et kuivõrd me teame külvipindu, me teame, kui palju on sertifitseeritud seemet, meil on andmed ka omatoodetud seemne kohta, mis ülejäänu on, seda võib ainult arvata, et kas must seeme või mis asi ta siis on.
And we have, of course, many international seed companies who also know the situation in the field, and which we can double check.
Ja paljud rahvusvahelised seemnefirmad ise ka teavad, milline olukord turul on, nii et see on nagu topeltkontroll juba.
But at the end of the day, it remains estimations. So careful with the
Aga
interpretation.
üleüldiselt siiski on hinnanguliste numbritega.
No further questions?
Kui rohkem küsimusi ei ole, läheme edasi.
Royalty collection systems on farm safe seed. I just mentioned it. So we have quite a good system, quite a good overview of Europe. You see the countries in green, and in all these countries we have royalty collection systems in place on farm safe seed.
No nii. Meil on kaunis hea ülevaade autoritasude kogumisest Euroopas. Rohelisega märgitud riikides on süsteem paigas.
The first time I made this map was 10 years ago.
Esimest korda tegin sellise kaardi umbes 10 aastat tagasi.
And at that time I think we only had 5 or 6 countries where we had a royalty collection system. So we have quite some changes in the past 10 years.
Nii et 10 aastaga on toimunud päris suured muudatused, kuivõrd 10 aasta eest oli seal kaardil kuskil rohelisega märgitavad ainult kuskil 5-6 riiki.
So even in countries like Poland where you have a huge number of small farmers, they start that royalty collection and it works.
Ja isegi Poolas, kus on hiigla palju on neid tillukesi talusid, isegi seal on see autoritasude süsteem paigas praeguseks.
France, the situation is different. There it's wheat only, but that's not true. Last year also the other crops like barley and oats and pulses were added to the royalty collection system.
Siin kaardil on küll märgitud Prantsusmaa erandina ainult nisuga, kuid see ei vasta enam tõele, sellepärast et juba aasta aega toimub see autoritasude süsteem seal ka kaera ja odra ja siis kaunviljadele.
Last week I was in Portugal and there we also discussed to set up a system. So I hope that perhaps next year or the year after we can change the color of that country too.
Eelmine nädal olin just Portugalis ja nemad toimetavad seal oma süsteemi kallal ja loodetavasti saab ka järgmise aasta kaardil nende riigi roheliseks värvida.
So Italy is still a problem. Romania, Bulgaria and Croatia as a new, and Slovenia of course, Austria. This whole region is still a problem.
Siin regioonis siis on problemaatilised on Itaalia, Bulgaaria, Rumeenia ja Sloveenia.
There are different approaches and I think that's interesting. In certain countries information on the single farm payment data is shared with breeders.
Niisiis, siin on nüüd välja toodud need erinevad lähenemised autoritasude kogumise süsteemile. Et esimeses reas on toodud siis, mis on üksiku talu kohta. No, Belgias näiteks kartulid.
Yeah, so that's especially the situation in countries nearby, Sweden and Finland, but also in Belgium for potatoes. Mm-hmm. You did that already. What is important is that when you have the information on the single farm payment, it's much more easy to collect the royalty collections. So to collect the royalties on farm safe seed.
Et sellise Mida? See on otse toetustega. Informatsiooni korjamine siis on seotud otse toetustega ja siis on ülevaade olemas ka see oma toodetud seemne kohta.
Okay. You see, in certain countries we have agreements. In Spain, UK and Belgium for the other crops. So agreements between farmers' organizations and breeders on royalty collection.
Teatud riikides nagu Belgia, Hispaania ja Suurbritannia, neil on lepingud siis nende talunike organisatsioonide ja seemnekasvatajate vahel.
In certain countries you don't have agreements at all, so it's a direct link between breeders and farmers.
Mõnedes riikides pole üldse lepinguid, neil on otseside on siis selle seemnetootja ja siis kasvataja vahel, nagu näiteks Tšehhis ja Saksamaal.
And you have a special situation, and that is very often the case. France has a special situation. They have a levy on the end product.
Ja selline eriolukord on siis Prantsusmaal.
And that's called in typical French contribution volontaire obligatoire. And I will translate that in English. So it's a levy which is at the one hand voluntary, but at the other hand it's obligatory.
Et tüüpiliselt prantslaslikult on selline põhimõte, see on selline nagu maks, mis on ühelt poolt on ta vabatahtlik, aga siiski kohustuslik.
Again, different approaches. So in certain countries you have the national seed associations which are active. And I should have added here, of course, Estonia.
Ja siin on nüüd välja toodud need erinevad selle autoritasude kokkukorjamise süsteemid, mis vahenditega seda tehakse.
In certain countries you have special companies set up by breeders.
Mõnedes riikides on selle jaoks spetsiaalsed ettevõtted, firmad.
And well, you have special provisions in UK and France, like I already mentioned.
Või siis sellised nagu Suurbritannias ja Prantsusmaal. Osalt teevad seda need seemnetootjad ise, aretajad.
And this is an important one. So the involvement, direct or indirect, by national authorities. Ja osades riikides on siis kas otsene või kaudne riiklike struktuuride sekkumine. I mentioned already, say, Belgium, Sweden and Finland, so the use of the single farm payment scheme. Siis need otsesüsteemid, nagu varem mainitud, siis Belgias, Soomes, Rootsis. And in Spain, that's really special. There, say, the Guardia Civil, the local police, is involved in enforcement of environmental policy, including seeds. Ja Hispaanias on isegi politseist spetsiaalne struktuur, mis vaatab üleüldiselt igasuguse keskkonnaga seotud asjade järel, kaasa arvatud ka seemnekasvatus. So in our Congress 6 weeks ago in Vienna, we had a captain of the Guardia Civil. That was a very interesting occasion. Ja, et päris huvitav on näha seda Guardia Civil ehk politsei esindajat näha kusagil seemnekasvatajate kokkutulekul. That was the chapter 6. See oli 6. Royalty collection on farm safe seed. Et siis autoritasude kogumisest. Any questions? We're still awake. I don't see any snoring people. Kõik on ärkvel veel. Okay, we continue. And we're still good in time, so we will manage. Me oleme täiesti ajagraafikus, nii et kõik on hästi. A case study on the situation in Sweden. That can go relatively quickly because. Läheme konkreetsete juhtumite juurde. I don't have to tell you this. It's important to invest in variety development, especially for the Nordic countries. You know how important that is. Nagu me kõik teame, ma ei väsi ka kordamast, kui tähtis on investeerida sordiaretusse iseäranis Põhjamaades. The changes in climate, the increased pressure from plant pathogens. Jah, igasugused, nagu me kõik teame, siin on kõik need faktorid ära toodud. And I must say, I've borrowed these slides from Per Henriksson. He's the Secretary General of the Swedish Seed Association.
Need fotod ma laenasin Per Henrikssonilt, kes on siis Rootsi seemneliidu esimees.
The specific situation in vegetation period in the Nordic countries, well, you know that better
Väga
than I do.
spetsiifiline olukord on Põhjamaades selle vegetatsiooniperioodiga.
The expected consequences of the change of climate, so you will get different diseases.
Nii et siin on erinevaid haigusi seotud siis nende klimaatiliste tingimustega.
Especially different rust species and also fusarium will increase in these parts of Europe.
Jah, eriti just need erinevad roosted ja fusarium veel, mis meil kõik siin tabavad.
And that's also, well, the reason why you need investment in plant breeding to get indeed adapted varieties for your local conditions.
Nii et jah, kasvutingimused on üpris karmid, jah.
This is information from Sweden again on the part of the royalties in the total seed price. Of course, that is a picture which is different for each country. In Sweden, sorry, go ahead.
See on nüüd Rootsi näide. Et millest koosneb seemne hind? Erinevad komponendid.
In Sweden, the royalty part in the total seed cost is around 15%.
Rootsis on siis autoritasud, osakaal on 15% seemne hinnast.
So relatively limited compared to the whole seed price.
Et võrdlemisi väike võrreldes kogu ülejäänud seemne hinnaga.
This is an important one. There is an agreement in Sweden, an annual agreement between the Farmers Union and the Swedish Seed Association on the royalty collection.
Et uuendatakse igal aastal lepingut nende talunike liidu ja seemnekasvatajate vahel.
And this is a very important one. So the communication aspect of of royalty collection. You should not start with royalty collection, but first explain why plant breeding is important also for the farmers.
See on ka nüüd oluline, et alati alustatakse just sellest, et miks on see seemnekasvatus nii oluline, seemne osakaal nii oluline.
I'm going to quickly. Here you see in Sweden, and that's quite special, they agreed with the farmers on a remuneration level of 70% for farm safe seed compared to the royalty level on certified seed.
Nii et vastavalt siis lepingule on siis see tasu 70% oma toodetud seemnetasu, jah, on võrreldus sertifitseeritud seemnega.
Okay, so the default level is 50%, and I think here in Estonia you also have 50%.
Et Eestis vist on 50 või?
This is again a very important one. So the Swedish association has access to the data from growers in the single farm payment register.
Nii et Rootsis on seemneliidul on andmed talude kohta kätte saadavad. Otse toetuste ja mis on statistika ja mis andmebaas neil on.
Yeah, I've shown this slide also yesterday to the ministry, and I think here in Estonia the figures are just the other way around.
Eestis tundub, et on vist teistpidi. Eile vaatasime seda slaidi ministeeriumis.
So in Sweden we have something between 70 and 85% of certified seed.
Et Rootsis on sertifitseeritud seemed kuskil 75%.
Between 14 and 21% it's farm safe seed.
Siis seda oma toodetud seemet on see vähem.
And you have brown bagging of black market of roughly 10% in 3 crops.
jah, ja jämedalt võttes siis kusagil 10% on seda musta seemet.
That finishes part 7 of my presentation. Any
See
questions
oli
on Sweden?
7. osa, nüüd küsimused palun.
Then I have 3 last slides with some conclusions. And
Nii kokkuvõtteks 3 viimast slaidi.
so I hope that I at least explained the importance why we need innovation and technology for sustainable agriculture.
Loodetavasti suutsin ma edastada mõtte, kui tähtis on see teadus- ja arendustegevus nimelt selle jätkusuutliku tootmise seisukohalt.
And indeed, we need fundamental research, but we need also to convert that into practical research in new varieties, so in plant breeding.
Et me peame tegelema ka siis selle praktilise tegevusega just selles seemnekasvatuses.
I hope I was able to describe a bit also the political role, the importance of proper legislation.
Samuti suutsime siin selgeks saada, kui oluline osa on poliitikal.
And at the end of the day, we need to safeguard the competitiveness of the EU farmer. Huh?
Ja kui oluline on toetada Euroopa taluniku konkurentsivõimet maailmas.
Yeah, on the EU legal framework, so first plant breeders' rights. So it's not expected that we will change that on European level.
Mis puutub siis taime või nende seemnekasvatajate õigustesse, ei ole eriti tõenäoline, et need lähitulevikus oluliselt muutuvad.
The Commission is very reluctant because there's a lot of pressure of NGOs to the other side.
Et komisjon on ääretult tõrges, sellepärast et nende valitsusväliste organisatsioonide lobitöö on hästi tugev.
But as mentioned, we have possibilities to improve the situation on national level.
Aga oma siseriiklikul tasandil on siiski võimalus asju natuke paremas seisus hoida.
If you look to seed marketing, so the black market.
Kui me nüüd läheme selle seemne turule, kaubanduse poole peale.
So the PRM proposal was rejected.
Siis lükati tagasi see paljundusmaterjali parandusettepanek.
But we have possibilities to improve individual seed marketing directives, and that's what we are doing as ESA together with the Commission.
Aga siiski on võimalus parandada üksikuid neid direktiive.
I showed you the different royalty collection systems in farm safe seed.
Me vaatasime erinevaid autoritasude kogumise süsteeme.
So there is more and more experience in different member states, 17 until now.
Selle oma toodetud seemne kohta siis on meil kogemusi 17 liikmesriigi kohta.
And there are many different possibilities.
Ja võimalusi on väga mitmeid.
So I think also here in Estonia you should have a look on what other countries are doing.
Et soovitus oleks ka Eestist vaadata, mida teised riigid selles osas teevad.
And perhaps certain of the policies can also be transposed to Estonia.
Et mõned asjad võib-olla oleks võimalik rakendada ka Eestis.
But at the end of the day, when we talk about black seed or when we talk about farm safe seed or the promotion of certified seed,
ja lõppeks, kui me nüüd räägime siis mustast seemnest, oma toodetust seemnest ja ka sertifitseeritud seemnest.
We need to have proper communication with farmers.
Et meil peab olema korralik side nende talunikega.
And I think the Estonian Seed Association is on the right way. I saw a very nice video clip in the beginning.
Et enne nägime väga kena videoklippi. Eesti Seemneliit on selles osas siin hea asjaga valmis saanud.
Again, I don't speak Estonian, but I understood that it was a promotion of certified seed.
Et kuigi ma eesti keelt ei oska, sain ma ülihästi aru, et tegu oli siis sertifitseeritud seemne hea promoga.
That is it, Madam Chair. I am 15 minutes ahead. That's good, huh?
Et see ongi kõik, meile 5 minutit ajast ees.
Thank you very much for a comprehensive presentation covering so many topics from seed to the seed legislation and even a case study you managed. Thank you. Suur tänu siis selle ulatusliku laiapõhjalise ettekande eest, et nii palju erinevaid valdkondi kattis. Nüüd on veel küsimusteks aega, et palju juba oli vahele, aga võib-olla siis on nüüd veel midagi või ükskõik millisest teemast, mida ta rääkis. Ja, Margus.
Kas on ka ülevaadet sellest, kui suur on maheseemne osakaal ja kas see sektori osa suureneb või seisab paigal või väheneb?
What is the proportion of organic seed in all this seed market? And is it increasing or decreasing? Certified seed.
Organic seed, organic production you mean? Well, Estonia 17%. On average, I think European level it's 7-8%. It is increasing in certain markets, but the increases are very, very little. We have had... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Üldiselt ei ole see osakaal väga suur. Eestis ta on muidugi 7%, nagu sai mainitud. Üldiselt on ta kusagil 7% ringis, aga teatud riikides osakaal siiski suureneb.
If you look to different crops, there are very big differences.
Kultuuriti on olukord väga erinev.
Grass seeds, I think grass production, it's something like 40% of the whole production in the European Union is organic. That's really big.
Et näiteks, mis puutub heinaseemet, siis 40,
yeah.
40. That's why I was asking. Et 40% on siis on organiline maheseeme.
But unfortunately, there's no seed sales there because that's extensive. So that's mountains and that's other areas. So that's really extensive growing.
No see on ekstensiivne kasvatamine, mägedes ja nii edasi.
But at the other hand, crops like sugar beet, like potatoes, like maize, it is less than 1% of the total area.
Jah, aga muudel kultuuridel, näiteks nagu suhkrupeet, mais või kartul, see on alla protsendi.
And cereals and pulses is a bit in between, like 15% more or less.
Ja näiteks koonviljadel on kusagil 15% ringis.
Ja.
On veel küsida? Ja, Lea, väga aktiivne küsija.
Et lihtsalt nii huvi pärast, et meie siin oleme küll põllumajandustootjad, aga palju on ju ka, kes toodavad puitu ja metsa ja selleks on ka seemet vaja. Et kuidas on üldse Euroopas, kas on ka mingi metsa või siis puude seemnete mingi sertifitseerimine või, sest on ju olemas hübriidhaab, mis siin ju tegelikult on midagi muud hoopis kui tavaline.
Okay, we have been talking about agricultural seeds and we are all agricultural producers here, but there is also forestry and they also need seeds. How about their seeds? We know already about hybrid aspens and such like.
Yes, indeed. But forests is a completely different world. And as ESA, we do not represent the forest sector. And I must say I'm quite happy with that, because that is really complicated. So I'm sorry, I cannot answer your question.
Kahjuks ma ei oska vastata, sest et mets on meie jaoks, siin on hoopis teine maailm ja selle jaoks on hoopis teised struktuurid, kes sellega toimetavad.
Aitäh ja nüüd Pille.
Et ma ei taha niivõrd küsida, vaid natukene Bertile kommenteerida, mis pärast see saal võib-olla nii vait täna oli. Vähe küsimusi oli.
I wouldn't like to ask a question, but more comment on why we were so quiet here today.
Sellepärast, et siin on põhiliselt seemnetootjad.
These are seed producers here mostly.
Et neile on seda asja rohkem selgitatud, nad selgitavad neile, kelle nad seemet müüvad.
They have been explained all these matters already, and they are supposed to explain the same things to the farmers, to their clients.
Ja mulle meeldis ettekandest see osa eriti, et enne kui lähed raha koguma, selgita milleks.
But what I liked most about the presentation is the principle that before you start collecting money, then you make sure and make it sure for the client why you are, what's the purpose.
Siit tuli selgelt välja nii-öelda aretuse progressi tulemus ehk saak, kvaliteetne, eks ole, toodang ja ütleme haiguskindlam toodang ja nii edasi, et see ongi sordiaretuse tulemus ja selle töö väärindavad edaspidi seemnekasvatajad.
The presentation just reflected the main idea, the process, the progress of seed breeding. First breeding and then seed growing.
Et hommikul ka Krista ettekandes oli seda asja näha, et kus analüüsiti siis aastate pikkuse sordikatsetuse tööst saadud tulemusi.
The same idea was in Krista's presentation this morning where she presented the data from trials throughout years.
Aga võib-olla te oskate öelda, et ütleme natukene tuttununa meie seemnekasvatuse süsteemiga, et miks võiks nüüd olla võib-olla meie seemnekasvatajale see kultuur, millega nad saaksid leiba teenida?
But now having gotten into Estonian situation, probably you could forecast a bit what are the crops that Estonian seed growers, seed breeders could earn.
Yeah, well, thank you for your comment, and I know that we have only the good guys here, good guys and ladies in the room, so that's good. I knew that in advance, and I hope I didn't bore you too much with the EU legal framework. But I fully agree. Indeed, we have to start with communication. We have to explain to farmers what it is all about before asking them money, because that would be the wrong way around.
Mul on hea meel märkida, et siin saalis on ainult heade poole esindajad ja siis samuti see ka, et kõik teavad, kui oluline on seletada ja propageerida oma seda põhimõtteid.
Yeah, you ask me a prediction for the future, so to look into the glass bowl more or less.
Et vaadata kristallkuuli tuleviku suhtes, palusite mul praegu.
In my presentation I gave already a forecast for next year, which is quite dangerous already. Huh?
Tegelikult ma natuke puudutasin juba järgmise aastat, mis iseenesest on juba natukene ohtlik.
A lot will depend, on politics, on the market price, commodity price, what is happening in other parts of the world.
Et me vaatasime neid turuhindu, mis toimub erinevates maailma otsades praegu.
And of course also, what is happening on the politics with your neighbor in the east.
Ja mis praegu toimub teie idanaabri poliitikas praegu hetkel?
Of course I could also say, we will have climate change.
Loomulikult ma võiksin öelda, et meil on kliimamuutus praegu käsil.
So in the long run you should grow soybean, vineyards,
kasvatama sojauba ja kõva nisu.
But I will not go so far. I mean,
aga nii kaugele ma ei läheks.
I think what I've said already say that the different factors of importance for commodity production, they are so volatile nowadays, so it's very difficult to forecast.
Et kõik need faktorid kokku tegelikult on niivõrd ebastabiilsed praegusel hetkel, et praktiliselt võimatu on midagi ette ennustada.
We have one very last question. Ja viimane küsimus, Margus.
Minu küsimus oli, et kuidas ta prognoosib, et kui pikalt Euroopa soovib keelata GMO-d ja olla siis ise viletsamas olukorras kui muu maailm ja sellega seoses siis ka uued teised traditsioonilistele sordiarvestustele lisaks võtted nagu siis hübriidide areng või need Clearfield sordid, et kuidas need võiksid tulevikus minna?
The question is for how long, how do you predict for how long is Europe, EU keeping themselves in the lower position regarding GM and other new things, for instance, Clearfield, yeah?
Yeah, in fact, those are two different questions. One on the political decision not to restrict the cultivation of GM. As ESA, we have lobbied for 15 years to get thresholds on low-level presence for efficient presence of GM seeds in conventional seed lots.
Et selle GMO-ga on 15-aastane lävi, jah?
And that was a complete failure. We did not.
Et see oli täielik ebaõnnestumine, mis nende GMO-dega juhtus.
And what you see now, what is happening on a political level.
Ja kui me vaatame, mis toimub praegu poliitika tasandil.
So the import of GM feed is allowed.
Et GMO söötade import on lubatud.
Only the cultivation is not allowed.
Aga nende kasvatamine ei ole.
So in fact, in practice, there's no problem anymore for the politicians.
Poliitiku jaoks põhiliselt probleem puudub.
I wonder if I will see any change in my working life, and that is still 10 years to go. So I don't predict anything there.
Pean tunnistama, et oma tööelu jooksul, mida ilmselt on veel kusagil 10 aastat, mina muudatust ette ei näe.
But like I mentioned, I find it very sad. I find it hypocrite.
Ma leian, et see on kurb ja silmakirjalik.
Because at the end of the day, the farmers don't have the choice for whatever project, and also the consumers don't have the choice.
See tähendab seda, et ei ole ei talunikul ega tarbijal mingit valikut.
Your question on Clearfield it's a different one.
Aga see Clearfieldi puudutav küsimus on hoopis teisest ooperist.
Because that's a natural resistance to a herbicide.
Et see on looduslik vastupanu nendele mürkidele, herbitsiididele.
So it's not regulated as a GM.
Et see ei ole ka reguleeritud seadusandlusega.
But we know that in certain countries there's quite some opposition in the introduction of Clearfield varieties.
Aga nagu me teame, mõnedes riikides on juba niisugune ettevaatlik samm astutud, et neid Clearfield sorte nagu juba
Clearfield sunflower is quite widely accepted.
Päevalill on juba küllaltki laialdaselt aktsepteeritud.
But Clearfield oyster drape, we have difficulties in a couple of countries. Germany is one and Poland is another one.
Ja rapsiga on ka algust tehtud, on Saksamaal ja Poolas.
In France, for example, Clearfield varieties have been proposed for registration by the national authority. Et Prantsusmaal on tehtud ettepanek Clearfield sortide registreerimiseks rahvuslikus registris. So the decision is on the table of the minister, but he refuses to sign.
Et see on praegu juba ministri laual praktiliselt, aga ta keeldub alla kirjutamast.
So that it is a sensitive issue, and what we try to do is at least to demonstrate that it is a natural resistance. It's not to be addressed like GM varieties in relation to the biotech directive.
See on tundlik teema, aga me hoiame selle asja päevakorral näidata siiski, et tegemist on loodusliku selle vastupanu võimega.
Aitäh. Thank you so much both of you. Aitäh neile mõlemale veel kord, et 2 tundi vastu pidada rääkides ja tõlkides ja suur aitäh.